Coming up on Sports Night.
Men's basketball looks to stay hot in a pair of home matchups.
Women's basketball looks for a win with big implications on Senior Day.
And men's swimming looks to bring home some hardware in the Big Ten Championship.
Griffin, it's officially March, and you know what that means.
Yeah, opening day, big year for my Mets, bringing in Juan Soto.
Nobody cares about Juan Soto, man. It's March Madness time. We sleep in May.
Well, we're definitely not sleeping tonight because it's Sports Night
right now. Welcome back to the greatest show on earth, Sports Night. I'm Miguel Muñoz, here alongside Griffin Senyek, and we couldn't be more excited to host the first show of the month.
Taking some inspiration from the events of the week, I think there's no better time to address the Sports Night community. Welcome to the state of Sports Night.
And Griffin, I think there's no better place to start than with the state of men's basketball. Northwestern welcomed in the Iowa Hawkeyes looking to stay hot coming off a pair of wins and pushing themselves back into the Big Ten tournament contention. The biggest thing on the Cats' minds, though, was revenge, with the last-second loss in Iowa City still fresh in their minds. 3 months ago, the Cats lost to the Hawkeyes in Iowa City on a Josh Dix buzzer beater. Now on home soil, NU had the opportunity to rectify that, and boy, did they take advantage of it. To start, Matt Nicholson, off all people, drops a dime to Nick Martinelli for the game's first points. Definitely not on my bingo card, but another thing that wasn't on my bingo card was leaving Ty Berry open on the three-point line. Sidestep shot, money. Cats up 10. The theme of this game was to expect the unexpected. Drew Thelwell had himself a night from beyond the arc, just automatic from three. For Northwestern, KJ Wyndham was getting buckets. This tough floater from Gibson, 10 in the first. And big man highlight reel incoming, Matt Nicholson packs this shot up and sent it to a fan sitting courtside to end the first. Willie approves. Of course, he's a big fan of Matt's. Operation Double Martinelli started, failing for the Hawkeyes in the second. The junior used some good off-ball movement to get to the rack for back-to-back layups to open the half. But Peyton Sanford couldn't really get things going in this one except for his signature floater. Only 9 on the night, though, for the Big Ten Player of the Year candidate. Rule of thumb, if someone tells you they don't like Keenan Fitzmaurice, they're lying. Boom! Raising the roof and only like he can. And when KJ gets in his bag, you don't have a chance. Excuse me, step back, green light. He was the only player to break 20 in this low-scoring affair, as Northwestern avenges their conference opening loss by holding Iowa to their lowest game total of the year, moving head coach Chris Collins to second all-time amongst Northwestern coaches in career wins. Here's what he had to say about the achievement.
So coaching records are all about players, and so I hope guys that have put the jersey on for me over the 12 years, they take part in this, whatever. It's not a record, to be in second is not a record, but I hope they take part in these wins because I'm not getting any of the wins without those guys going out there and fighting their tails off for me.
Next up, Northwestern welcomes UCLA to Evanston for Senior Night, the last game in Welsh Ryan Arena for longtime Wildcats Ty Berry, Matt Nicholson, and Brooks Barnheiser, who shares a nice moment with Chris Collins there. So let's dive right into this one. Nick Martinelli gets it in the post from Berry, but gives it right back, and the fifth year drills the three for his first field goal of the game. UCLA was hot from behind the arc in the first half. Great feed from Ade Mara to a wide-open Sebastian Mack, who converts to put UCLA up 5. Freshman standout KJ Wyndham was looking to build on his 20-point performance versus Iowa, and he sure did. Pulls up from deep and hits nothing but net for his second three-pointer of the half. Northwestern goes into the locker room up 1 on the Bruins. Midway through the second half, it's fan favorite Keenan Fitzmaurice lefty hook. Beauty right there over the 7-3 Mara to cut the lead to 4. Fitzmaurice having fun as always and getting the crowd going. But UCLA would take over from there, opening up a 14-point lead with under 4 to play after this dunk from Tyler Bilodeau. But Ty Berry wasn't going to let his tenure in the Welsh end like that. Strips it away from Eric Daly Jr. and slams it home on the other end. Under 1 minute to play with the Cats down 8. KJ Wyndham gets the steal on the press. Ball eventually makes it to Berry in the paint. He lays it in. Cats down 6 now. Northwestern back on offense after a missed free throw. Mullins drives, kicks to Berry. His three, it's good. Just like that, it's a one-possession game. UCLA now down to 2. Martinelli looking to tie things up, drives, but loses possession of the ball. A questionable no call with Martinelli seemingly being fouled, but the Cats would be unable to recover. UCLA holds off Northwestern's comeback, winning 73-69 and earning their 12th conference win. Despite the loss, Monday's game marked another strong performance from KJ Wyndham, who had 10 points off the bench. Our very own Sammy Krimstein has more on the standout freshman.
KJ Wyndham is starting to heat up. In a season filled with adversity for Northwestern basketball, the emergence of the freshman guard Wyndham has been a silver lining. With star veteran guards Brooks Barnhizer and Jalen Leach both succumbing to season-ending injuries, Wyndham has had the opportunity to get significant minutes in the middle of Big Ten conference play.
It's always like win first mentality. So, like, just somebody goes down, you have to be ready to come in and contribute.
In 6 games since getting a bump in minutes, Wyndham has been killing it for the Cats. He has 2 20-point games, is averaging over 12 points and 3 assists per game, all while shooting a blazing 45% from beyond the arc. He's doing it all while playing a position he never played in high school, point guard.
He's learning to kind of, how to run a set, how to be aggressive, and these last couple games he's been terrific.
Wyndham has excelled in his new role and is starting to get some comparisons to another Northwestern point guard, the one, the only, Boo Buie. Even Northwestern basketball's social media is making the connection.
Watching him last year, it made me want to be out there. Like, even if I had to go sit on the bench and watch him, like, it made me excited to come up here. So the fact that picture, like you said, was us doing the same celebration, like that's cool to me because they know how much I talk about.
He loves Boo. He loves Boo.
While Wyndham is just now making waves in the Big Ten, his teammates remember noticing his passion for the game before he even suited up for Northwestern.
It started on his visit. We were playing one-on-one for 3 hours, me, him, and his brother, just, talking ball, and I just knew he loved ball. And that's where you kind of develop trust, like knowing that people want to put in the work for it.
So is Wyndham the next big star of Northwestern basketball? It may be too soon to say, but for now, the future is certainly bright. For NNN Sports, I'm Sammy Krimstein.
Thanks, Sammy. The Cats will look to clinch a spot in the Big Ten tournament in their regular season finale at Maryland on Saturday.
Don't leave just yet because we've got plenty more hoops action when we get back.
Trying to work my way out of the prison system was the most difficult challenge of my life. It only became tangible once I became a Northwestern student.
One, two, three, four.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Welcome back to Sports Night. We've got some women's basketball action for you.
Well, before we get there, Miguel, I think it's important to tell the viewers, I didn't know you were one of the practice players on the team.
Yeah, helping out any way I can.
Well, is there any way we could see that jump shot? Is anyone in the studio got a ball back there?
All right, man. Let's just stick to the script. I'll cook you in SPAC later, don't worry.
You wish.
Northwestern women's basketball found themselves still fighting for something with just one game left in the year as they were in contention for a Big Ten tournament spot. Northwestern welcomed in the Cornhuskers from the fields of Nebraska for their senior day, needing a win in order to have a shot at postseason action. It was senior night at the Welsh with some major Big Ten tournament implications as Northwestern took on the Cornhuskers of Nebraska on Sunday, the Cats needing a win to make it to Indy. Less than a minute played, standout first-year Britt Prince crosses over left, drives inside and dishes out the beautiful pocket pass for the Alexis Markowski and one. This time it's inside to number 40 again. She goes up for the layup, misses, fight for the rebound, but Taylor Williams can't collect, and Markowski snatches it and scores. Northwestern, though, going quick with Caroline Lau, who sprints her way through the Husker defense and gets the layup to go, NU down 13 at the end of one. Markowski looking for options, finds Prince inside, who takes her time. Prince kicks it to Jessica Petrie, who collects and knocks down the corner three ball, big time. NU trying to claw its way back into this one. Ball moving around the three-point line. Casey Harder kicks it to Zamaya Walton, who pulls up and hits the tough three. Cats down 38-55. Third quarter action, Petrie passes to Prince on the right wing. He pulls up and casually knocks down one of Nebraska's 10 threes. Sideline play to Mel Daly. The senior gets the screen, drives hard left, and knocks down a signature fall-away mid-range. Northwestern still down 18. Caroline Lau hands off to another senior. This time it's Kyla Jones. Jones doesn't use the screen and instead takes it herself to the right for the and one finish. But it was too little, too late. Nebraska taking their time. They find Kendall Coley in the right corner, who hits the smooth jump shot. And that would be that. The five Northwestern seniors check out for the final time with emotions running high as Northwestern drops the last game of the season, 98-77. Tough one for the Wildcats. Northwestern's season ends with a sour taste in their mouths. Joe McEwen and company finished with a 9-18 overall record, marking the third straight season with under 10 wins.
Men's swimming had a very successful regular season, finishing 8-1 with wins over Big Ten opponents like Penn State, Wisconsin, and Purdue. Last week, the team traveled up north to Minneapolis to compete in the Big Ten championships. Cats in Minnesota, competing in the men's swimming and diving Big Ten champions. Let's dive right into day one. The 200 medley relay B final team of David Gerchik, Tyler Liu, Stuart Seymour, and Cade Duncan in the bottommost lane finished fifth to earn a spot on the podium. Moving on to Thursday, Joshua Staples is working in the second lane from the top in the A final of the 500 free. Staples fighting for the final three spots, and he comes out with a fifth place finish. Big finish there from Staples. Heading over to the diving portion of things, Kyle Lai nails his somersaults and twists to earn him a 7th place finish in the 1-meter diving B final. On Friday, we saw two Wildcats battling it out in the 100 backstroke A final. It's Seymour who comes up on top over Gerchik to earn the bronze medal and set a school record 45:07 time. In the 400 IMA final, Ohio State's Tristan Jankovic runs away with it, but Diego Nosak in the second lane from the top walked the podium with a 5th place finish in a time of 3 minutes and 42 seconds. Northwestern set another school record on Saturday's A final 400 free relay. Indiana handily took home the gold, but the Cats in the top lane held on. Seymour, Duncan, Connor Schuster, and Gerchik placed 4th to break the record that stood since 2007 with a time of 2:49.77. Northwestern finished 7th place in the tournament overall and made 14 trips to the podium. Well, next up for men's swimming with Big Ten competition behind them, they'll turn their focus to the NCAA championships, which will take place later this month.
Last weekend, softball headed down south to Louisville, Kentucky to compete in the Cardinal Classic. The Cats put up a strong showing, going 3-1 across the weekend. Northwestern got off to a slow start, dropping its first game to Central Michigan after the Chippewas got hot early on offense. But later that day, the Cats made up for their loss with a win over Lawnwood. Kansas Robinson, the star, got the party started with a 2-run bomb in the first, and an RBI by Izzy Cunha capped a 3-run inning. The Cats added 2 more in the third inning, and a pair of doubles in the fifth by Cunha and Emma Ray led NU to a 9-1 victory by run rule. Northwestern again faced Lawnwood on Saturday and again merged as the victors. Kelsey Nader kicked off the game with a 2-run bomb to right field, and a first inning rally propelled the Cats to a 7-0 lead before Lawnwood even stepped up to the plate. The Lancers fought back, but a base knock by Cunha and scores by Cunha and Bridget Donahue off an error iced a 10-5 victory for NU. After its Saturday matchup with Louisville was canceled, the Cats took on the Cardinals to conclude their weekend on Sunday. Spearheaded by Lauren Boyd's 7 innings of 1-run ball, Northwestern came out with its 3rd straight win. The Cats scored all 5 of their runs in the 5th inning after a Nader double drove in the first run. Kaylee Avasado cranked a 2-run jack to left center, and a base hit by Ray and a score off Cunha off a throwing error capped the inning, giving Northwestern a 5-1 win to conclude a successful weekend. Next up for Northwestern is a trip to Oklahoma City this weekend to face Penn State and Michigan State.
For the second weekend in a row, Northwestern baseball traveled to the Research Triangle, this time taking on the Duke Blue Devils. Friday night's action started off with starter Crawford Wade giving up a 3 spot in the first, but the Cats' offense immediately battled back, courtesy of 3 consecutive 2-out RBI base knocks off the bats of Jack Lausch, Jack Council, and Preston Knott. Unfortunately for them, that would be the last time NU looked competitive in this one. The bullpen surrendered 10 runs in the 5th and 6th innings, handing the series opener to Duke 14-5. The Cats looked to even things up on Saturday with freshman Matthew Kauser on the mound, who had the lead even before he threw a pitch, thanks to a Jackson Freeman first-inning bomb. Kauser allowed a homer in the first as well, but Knott sent one deep in the second to put Northwestern up 4-1. Kauser was pulled with men on in the 6th, but Sam Plaboki was unable to hold the lead. Duke takes Game 2 6-5. The Cats got the lead first on Sunday, but with Garrett Shearer scratched, replacement starter Carter Dance couldn't get the job done. Duke put up 7 in the first, while the Cats went through 3 pitchers, and the game was pretty much over from there. The Blue Devils complete the sweep, winning Game 3 11-2. Northwestern will go back to the Carolinas this weekend for a 4-game set against the Citadel.
You'll want to stick around because when we come back, we have an interesting segment coming your way.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Ready, set, go!
Welcome back to Sports Night. Miguel, what are you doing there?
Say hi to the people on Instagram, Griffin.
Hey, how's it going? Live on Sports Night right now. But Miguel, the people on YouTube are waiting on us. Let's focus on them.
Okay, where were we? Oh, right, men's tennis. Northwestern men's tennis faced off against Northern Kentucky and Marquette this past weekend in their third straight week of home matchups and came up victorious both times. A strong start for the Cats in doubles as both the pairs of Felix Nordby and Grayson Casey, as well as Saprakash Goli and Chad Miller took down their respective Northern Kentucky foes. Nordby continued his success in the singles where he defeated NKU's Xavier Ikarma 6-1. Jackson Caldwell sealed the deal for Northwestern with a pair of wins in the number 5 spot. The Cats were even more dominant during the evening match against Marquette as they swept the Golden Eagles 7-0. The highlight of the second matchup was Chad Miller going 6-0 in a pair of matches in the number 5 single spot. Northwestern did not drop a single set the whole night as Goldie finished out the sweep at the number 1 single spot, winning 6-2 and 6-3. With these wins, men's tennis goes for 500 on the season. They look to take down ranked Big Ten rivals Wisconsin and Nebraska next weekend in their 4th straight weekend in Evanston.
10th-ranked Northwestern women's golf participated in the Darius Rucker Intercollegiate at Hilton Head Island, South Carolina from Monday to Wednesday. Going round by round, Northwestern finished tied for the 4th worst score among the 17 teams at the event in round 1 with a +14. However, the Cardiac Cats bounced back with a +4 score on Tuesday, which was tied for the 3rd best team score during that round. Northwestern finished with a +11 score on Wednesday, which was the 7th best score of the day. Overall, the Cats finished +29 as a team, which was tied with Texas for the 6th best score at the tournament out of 17 teams. Northwestern will be back in action March 28th through the 30th at the Ping Arizona State Invitational in Phoenix.
After a narrow loss to UCLA, Northwestern men's basketball still sits on the bubble of the Big Ten tournament. Our very own Pierson Strandquist has the scoop on the stakes for the upcoming game against Maryland, as well as what the Cats can do in the newly formatted Big Ten tourney. Take it away, Pierson.
Thanks, Miguel. Just on the road in Rosemont, the powers that be at the Big Ten headquarters decided to add 4 new West Coast foes for Northwestern to face every year in Oregon, UCLA, Washington, and USC. While it's probably best to try and forget the results from most of these matchups this season, the inclusion of more teams in the league has shaken up the conference tournament format in a big way. With that being said, let's dive right into how those changes impact the Wildcats and what the potential road to glory will have to look like this weekend, and after that, next week. With the Big Ten's brand new 18-school field finishing its first season of play together, it was inevitable that changes would have to be made to the league's coveted playoff structure. What many outside observers didn't expect, an announcement that the 3 bottom teams in the conference play would not be making the trip to Indianapolis this season, making automatic bids a thing of the past. This new bracket still grants double byes to the top 4 seeds, but now the 5th all the way through the 9 seed gets single byes as well. The Cats fall in that 10 to 15 range, which makes their final game at Maryland all the more important. Currently, Chris Collins' squad sits at 12th in the conference with 1 game to go and 1 elimination slot remaining. If Northwestern pulls off the upset in College Park on Saturday, not only do they guarantee themselves a spot in the tournament, but they potentially could secure a top seed in this first round. This could set them up nicely to face teams like Minnesota, USC, and Ohio State, who they've already beaten handedly this season, or a team like Nebraska that they arguably should have beaten as well. However, if Northwestern loses, the Cats will be at the mercy of the games played after theirs, as all 5 other teams fighting for a berth have later start times. Statistically speaking, grabbing the 15 seed is most likely outcome in this scenario, but if the cards don't stack the right way, the team could even be eliminated from contention if USC, Iowa, and Minnesota all win in their own rights. While knowing what could happen if they win or lose is great, what's even better is knowing how they need to execute if they ought to win. The cool thing is, we already have a winning formula with the Cats leading the season series against Maryland, 1-0. Firstly, Maryland's duo of Julian Reese and Derek Queen has quietly been one of the best in the nation, so stopping them would be extremely crucial. In the Cats' thrilling January win in the reverse fixture, Northwestern was able to do just that, not only forcing both guys to have terrible efficiency, but limiting the Terps overall to a measly 38.1% shooting percentage compared to the Wildcats' 48.3%. To keep it simple, the best offense is always great defense. Next, While the Terps led the rebounding battle in that one, it was very tight. And luckily, Matt Nicholson and Keenan Fitzmaurice are not among the injury casualties and should play a big role on the glass, especially in terms of grabbing offensive boards to lengthen possessions. Thirdly, while this team may have a lane driving identity, it shouldn't prevent them from shooting threes. In the last one versus UCLA, Ty Berry led the way in both points and threes made, yet the team still shied away from perimeter shooting in the second half. When they face the mighty Maryland, they should do no such thing, considering the gap between the two sides and how close this game theoretically should be. Finally, as with any question centering around winning a basketball game, Nick Martinelli is the answer. His buzzer beater against the Terps capped off an impressive 22-point, 9-for-14 performance. In order for the Wildcats to do it once again, Martinelli will have to lead the team once again, this time without key contributors Brooks Barnhizer and Jalen Leach. The fate of this game will decidedly depend on whether or not Martinelli can prove for the billionth time that the lights can't shine bright enough. Now, it kills without saying that even if the Cats make it to the tournament, it will not be a cakewalk in any sense. Despite securing a double bye in the last 2 seasons, Northwestern was bounced in their very first game both times. In the history of the conference's regular season playoff, the Wildcats have never made it past the quarterfinals. Nobody can deny that this specific Northwestern team has grit and resolve that we haven't had to see before, and very well could be the recipe for a deep run. But only time will tell if history will repeat itself or if the Cats will end the season on top of the Big Ten for the first time in 92 years. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Pierson. The Wildcats face off against the Terrapins this weekend in search of a series sweep in what would serve as a huge resume builder, especially in their quest for an NIT, Crown, or NCAA tournament invite.
And now let's see where you can catch the Cats.
Women's lacrosse travels to Milwaukee for a showdown with Marquette.
Men's basketball closes out the regular season in College Park on Saturday.
And wrestling welcomes the rest of the Big Ten to Evanston for the Big Ten Championships.
Don't touch that dial because we've got the best from the Cats coming up right after this break.
I'm Kelly McEvers, founding host of the NPR podcast Embedded.
I'm James Edwards, host of the Unresolved podcast from Frontline.
I'm Antonia Cereijido, former senior producer of Anything for Selena podcast and current executive producer at Elias Studios.
My narrative, since I've been locked up and kind of made my transition, has been like redemption, accountability.
When I come into the classroom environment, every individual that sits amongst me takes education seriously.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Welcome back, and I almost forgot, Griffin.
Come on, Miguel, come on, bro. Like, we do this every week, you know, we forget, I can't imagine what it's going to be. Like, let's just be original, dude.
You're right, nothing special, roll the tape.
Well, it's plays of the week. I mean, you can be a little more excited than that. Number 3, Kyla Jones dribbles through the lane and finishes for the strong and 1.
And at number 2, men's basketball now, Ty Berry comes off the screen set by Nick Martinelli and launches the 3, nailing it home. Northwestern would go on to lose 73-69 though.
And number 1, sticking with men's basketball, KJ Wyndham passes the ball, immediately gets it back. He sets up his defender and nails the step-back 3 off of a crossover. That'll do it for this edition of Sports Night.
For everyone watching, be sure to follow us on Instagram at @NNN_sports and on X at NNN Sports.
For Miguel Muñoz, I'm Griffin Senyek. This concludes the State of Sports Night. See you all next week.